absolutely free. That number for Pet Patrol, 362-6144.
From HometownNewsNow.com, this is Update News on 96.7 The Eagle. Welcome to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle, LaPorte County's original social media. Sound Off is a public interest forum that encourages your voice to be heard on the topics and issues impacting our local communities. For the next 30 minutes, we invite you to be part of the conversation by calling 219-362-0522. And you can now text your questions to the Liquor Vault on-air line or by email to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is a topic-based program, and we ask that you keep your comments brief, concise, and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media, LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Sound Off, a community conversation show where we have a conversation about what's going on in LaPorte County and beyond. I'm glad to have you with us today. I hope you listen or call or participate in whatever way you feel comfortable. Now, today's topic is inspired by a story that our very own Stan Maddox reported on HometownNewsNow.com about a wage increase for the mayor of Michigan City. A Michigan City Council person proposed a wage increase for the mayor from $79,409.72 to $118,000. Now, that's a sizable increase. The ordinance is expected to be discussed during a city council workshop scheduled at 5 p.m. later today. Now, we could talk about that, and we want to talk about specifically that, but also broaden some things. Obviously, I have different guests in here, and there's a conversation that happens on the air, but there's also the conversation that happens when we're not on the air about what's happening with employment and things like this. Experts say that recruiting and retaining state and local government workers is the most difficult it's been in decades. Competition from the private sector has left many governmental jobs unfulfilled and understaffed in local police, local fire departments, street departments, parks departments. This is what I want you to think about, and give me a call. Let me know your opinion on this. Should local governments be willing to pay more to attract more and better talent? If elected officials were paid more, would that be one less barrier for more people to run for office? Perhaps you've got an opinion about the mayor in Michigan City making more money. All of it is okay today. Let's talk about it. What do you think? We'd love to hear from you. Call or text the Liquor Vault on airline at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. I want to give a quick shout out to Doug McGuire, who told me on Sunday that he listens to the show. Thanks for listening, Doug. Glad to have you with us. But before we get to the topic again, let's talk about on this day in history, and we got a fun one today. It was on this day in 1881 that Chester A. Arthur was sworn in as the 21st President of the United States. It was the day before that President James Garfield died after a 2-month-long health struggle from being shot by an assassin. I bet many of you didn't even know James Garfield was shot by an assassin.
I did.
In January 1883, President Arthur signed the Pendleton Civil Service Act, landmark legislation mandating that certain federal government jobs be distributed based on merit rather than political connections. You actually have to know what you're doing instead of knowing the right people. The act also forbade workers from being fired for political reasons and prohibited compulsory political donations from employees. Arthur also had no vice president for his entire 4-year term. Isn't that crazy? Now, here's a fun fact. Barack Obama wasn't the first to face accusations that he wasn't a natural-born citizen. Because his father, who was a pastor, lived in Ireland and Canada before he was born, and his parents moved around within the states quite a bit after he was born, Chester Arthur's detractors tried to convince the public he was ineligible for the presidency, but he was, in fact, born in Vermont. And that, my friends, is what happened on this day in history. Today, we're talking about the salaries for local government employees and local government officials. If you've got an opinion on this, 219-362-0522. Give me a call. Shoot me a text. The Liquor Vault on airline is open. We're talking about that real quick. A recent article in governing.com called Government is Hiring but Faces Tough Competition for Workers. I'll try to put it in the show notes for today if I remember. Says recruiting and retaining state and local government workers is the most difficult it has been in decades. Government is hiring, but human resource professionals face competition from the private sector, accelerating retirement rates, and a shortage of applicants for public safety, healthcare, engineering, and information technology jobs. Goes on to say, one of the key differences between the 2021 survey and one conducted following the 2008 recession is a dramatic shift in retirement trends. In 2009, 44% of respondents said that retirement-eligible staff were planning to postpone retirement. But in 2021, only 2% said that. In 2021, 38% said retirement-eligible staff were planning to accelerate retirement compared to 12% in 2009. So not only do we have an increase in wages and the cost of wages and the competition to get people, but we're seeing an accelerated increase in retirements in police and fire and parks department, all these kind of things, which makes it a little harder to get it. Here's where the rubber meets the road. You own a business, you decide you're going to pay a little more to your employees to get the best employees. Well, for governmental workers, it can be a little harder when you already have a budget that's been approved by a council. And you can't just say, well, we're going to pay a bunch more money because you're already holding and abiding by a budget that was approved by other people. You don't have the authority to just say, well, we're going to pay $3 more an hour. So that's the question. This is the conversation we're having. I'd love to hear from you today. Again, 219-362-0522. Hey, Danny, let's get to our first caller. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on Sound Off. How was your weekend?
Hey, good afternoon, Nate.
Hey, Jeff. How was your weekend, bud?
Hey, but well, you know, I'm dealing with my health issues and that, and so it was okay though. I mean, let's face it, the weather's been beautiful, and we're looking at a cool down. But hey, folks, it's fall in a couple days. Couple things I wanted to say.
Sure.
First of all, I think it's like a facetious, sarcastic thing as far as the mayor of Michigan City receiving that money. If you remember, that was suggested by Sean Fitzpatrick, Councilman Sean Fitzpatrick. And as you know, there has been some turmoil between him and the mayor over the last so many months when the mayor made a comment that was recorded over here in Michigan City. So I say that to get to the other part. All right, being involved in government as I was, and I continue to follow. It's tough, you guys, because the thing is governmental positions, they notoriously, now I did 28 and a half years of fire service in Michigan City. I knew when I was hired, it's not a high-paying job, but the benefits, the package, the insurance was well worth the years, and by the time you get to longevity and everything, there were so many perks of the job that it did allow you to work part-time. Same thing with the police officers. I love my police, my fire, my EMS people. But you know what? Again, you got that pie, and there's so much money. And when we start talking about government positions, again, notoriously, we've known this is the way that it is. It's not as glamorous or high-paying as your private industries. So it's a catch-22, man. Mm-hmm. And but no, I think that we have to just look at our budget, like you say, and offer what we can. And again, maybe some of the perks. That's what we can do. We can do maybe some part-time. I mean, some, what was I saying? Some perks, some comp time, things like that. But like I say, man, and you know, I don't know. I know we're losing people, but we only got so much money. I guess that's all I want to say.
All right. Thanks so much for calling. Thanks for your opinion. All right. Let's get to another caller. Hey, I hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for calling. What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's like immoral that any mayor would be paid more than the median income of his, city, or that even goes true for the Congress. They shouldn't make more than the median income of their, constituents. That's about all I have to say.
All right. Thank you so much. I don't even know. I'd have to look it up what the median income here is in LaPorte County. But again, I'm sure it's lower than what most government officials are getting paid right now, because median income tends to be pretty low. All right, let's get to another caller. Thank you so much for calling the show. Thanks for listening to Sound Off. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, that's almost at $118,000. That's almost double what Mayor Dermody makes here in LaPorte. And for Mr. Simmons to bring that up, it's kind of two-way there. One, it doesn't surprise me that a Democrat wants larger, more expensive government. But as they butt heads back and forth, it makes you wonder what's the payback in the end on that end. And as Mr. Santana spoke of, being a public servant, which those of you who want to argue with this all day long, you are a public servant because your job is paid for by the public. It's always been known through the years. It's not a high-paying job, but it's job security. You have a great benefits package. You have right off the bat now, there's, I believe, 15 paid holidays. So there's 3 weeks paid vacation on top of your already normal vacation schedule. So we really have to continue to ask the question, if you're doing your job, and as I've said, I have no problem with the ones that do their job. But speaking with different departments and different people in those departments, there are a lot of people that don't do their job, but are just left to go along because they're party people on both sides. We still have to ask the question. This has to be paid for somehow. And those of us in this county, right now, we've got a assessor. He's trying to figure out a way to tax more people that have short-term rentals. It all has to be paid for, and we have to look at how we can maintain that. And we might have to possibly look in the future for some of these departments being outsourced if it can be done cheaper on the outsource. And if they're good, dependable employees, they will be able to find that job in the private sector. But like I said, it all still boils down to how much money is available. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much for calling. I did look up real quick. I was listening to you, Steve, but I did look up real quick. The median income for a household in LaPorte County was $47,697, and the median income for a family was $56,679, and that was according to the 2010 census. We'll obviously get more information very soon when new census data comes out, as it's slowly trickling out here. We're going to take a really quick break. It is 12:30. It's time to get to our first break. I'm enjoying the conversation. We're having a kind of a multifaceted conversation. Obviously, as our first caller said, maybe the salary proposal in Michigan City for the mayor being such a stark and high salary increase was more facetious than anything. But we're also talking about, does the county and the city need to pay better to get better employees, to get more employees, to fill the roles that they're not meeting? I know for a fact that the county sheriff and the city police have lost employees, not only just to other departments, but just to losing them to the mill, things like this, because they can't compete with salaries. So we hate losing good men and women in the force, and we hate doing all of this. And the Parks Department loves having good employees, but it's hard to compete when we're competing against a private sector. So we're going to take a really quick break here. Get your calls ready. Get your opinions ready. 219-362-0522. And stay right here on 96.7 The Eagle.
You might know MD Wise is a provider of health insurance, and we are. But we feel called to do way more than that. Like arranging free rides for those who don't have another way to get to the doctor, the dentist, or the drugstore. We also know healthy food is important, so we arrange free rides to the grocery and farmers market too. These are just a few of our extra services, because caring for Hoosiers beyond insurance could be the wisest thing we do. mdwise.org/more.
The LaPorte County Visitors Bureau wants to remind everyone that you can visit their website at visitmichigancitylaporte.com or follow them on Facebook. There you will find updated information and rescheduled dates for some of your favorite events that were canceled or postponed. They're working hard to make sure you stay informed of the latest changes. Check out visitmichigancitylaporte.com. From the staff and everyone at the LaPorte County Visitors Bureau, please stay positive and most of all, stay healthy. We are LaPorte County proud.
Inman's Bowling and Recreation Center in Valparaiso is Northwest Indiana's premier destination for a rocking good time. At Inman's, you will never get bored, so get up off the couch and head over to Inman's Bowling and Recreation. Check them out at inmansvalpo.com. You're invited to stop by our pro shop and check out all of our bowling accessories. All day Wednesday, you can bowl for $1 a game. Need to book an event? Check us out at inmansvalpo.com. They are located at 3201 Evans Ave, Valparaiso, or call 219-462-1300.
Rumors Restaurant and Bar, located at 12 Moore Street in Hannah, invites you and your family out for lunch or dinner. Rumors Restaurant and Bar is open Tuesday through Sunday and serving up some of your favorites like ribeyes, thick-cut pork chops, the famous Rumor Burger, Friday night fish fries including pollock, perch, frog legs, or try the seafood combo. Rumors Restaurant and Bar has daily specials, some of your favorite beers on tap, and breakfast is served all day. Hungry yet? Stop in at Rumors Restaurant and Bar, 12 Moore Street in Hannah. Your forecast on 96.7 The Eagle, brought to you by Harmon Expert Auto Service. If you're looking for a local and quality auto repair company, then look no further than Harmon Expert Auto with 2 locations in LaPorte, 308 Washington or 111 Brighton Streets. Visit their website at harmonexpertautoservice.com or call 325-0444.
Michiana weather.
We'll see showers and thunderstorms impacting the area this afternoon with highs in the upper 70s. Showers tonight with lows in the mid-60s, 72 with rain Tuesday. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 73.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back, friends. We are glad to have you here on Sound Off. Today's topic is inspired by a story that our very own Stan Maddox reported on HometownNewsNow.com about a wage increase for the mayor in Michigan City, and it kind of sparked some other ideas. We've had some conversations with local department heads for the city of LaPorte, the county, these kind of things, and many of them are having a hard time finding employees. And so experts say that recruiting and retaining state and local government workers is the most difficult it's been in decades. Competition from the private sector has left many governmental jobs unfilled and understaffed in local police, fire, street, and parks departments. Should local governments be willing to pay more to attract more and better staff? If elected officials were paid more, would we get maybe other candidates to run for office? I know one of the major hurdles they found in getting millennials or younger people at 40 and below to run for office is that they've got such high student debt that they can't run for office for a job that might only pay $35,000 a year. So if elected officials were paid more, would that be one less barrier for more people to run for office? Perhaps you've got an opinion about the mayor making more money in Michigan City or again, getting our police or fire or parks department or street department paid better. We'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think. Call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Let's get back to the phone lines. Thanks for waiting. Glad to have you on the show. What's your thoughts on this?
Hey, Nate, I'm sorry to call back twice, but I did hear Steve. And the one thing I didn't make mention of is elected officials. Absolutely not when they're in there. I don't believe that they should be looking for raises like that. And I think as things have gone on, I know in my term of a couple terms on the county, I didn't like the idea that we had to encompass us with an across-the-board raise. But if you guys remember, normally it was like cost of living of 2 to 3%. The other thing I wanted to correct Steve on real quick, I don't believe it was Gene Simmons that brought up the mayor of Michigan City's salary. It was Sean Fitzpatrick. And like I say, they've had some to-dos over the years. Over the last year because of a conversation. Yeah. The other part that I wanted to say is maybe it is time now to bring in that team that can come and evaluate and look at our offices in county government and all city government, all government, and say, hey, we did operate this way for this long and that way. I'm not taking anybody's job, but I'm saying maybe it is time that we can revamp a little bit and say we can do without this one or that one. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks again for letting me shout out.
All right, thanks so much. Let's get to another caller. You're on Sound Off. Thanks so much for calling. Thanks for listening to the show. What's your thoughts on this? Hello? No? All right, let's get to another caller here. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on the show. We're talking about salaries for governmental employees, these kind of things. What's your thoughts on it?
Yes, follow up on Santana's thing there with Sean Fitzpatrick being the author of this ordinance. Sean Fitzpatrick has made it known that he would like to be mayor of Michigan City. So it's a way of giving himself a raise prior to him getting in there. And, that's a substantial raise. If you look back probably about 3 years ago, you'll see the mayor was making roughly around $67,000 to $69,000. So we're talking basically almost double the salary in 4 or 5 years, which is totally ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And what you got to look at also is it isn't just the mayor and the councilman, but what they have proposed is raises for the police chief, fire chief, the assistant chiefs. Now, if you look, you can go online, and what they're doing is they're raising it to $85,000 for the police chief and fire chief. And if you go, you can go online and you can look at what they made, what every government employee made last year, the previous years prior to that. The thing is, Mr. Campbell last year pulled in over $92,000, and the salary was set at roughly around $82,000. Now, you tell me how he was able to get that much more money. Also, his two assistant chiefs, their salaries are set by the council also. They got way more than what the set salary was. Now, when you become a chief and assistant chief, you give up all your other extras. If you're on a special assignment, like say a school thing, or the school officer, you don't get that money anymore. You get only the salary. Now, maybe somebody should go in and find out how they're getting this additional amount of money, close to $10,000 more.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've heard is that what somebody did in the administration is made these officers master patrolmen, so that they can also receive that master patrolman increase during this time, and also some of the other extras that they're not supposed to receive. Now, this is what the problem is. We're getting so top heavy with the salaries at the top here, that they don't have enough money to pay the people at the bottom that are just coming on.
Yeah.
And some of the ones that have been on for a few years. It's a little ridiculous to pay this amount of money. And somebody has to start checking these salaries. Because the mayor was set at a certain amount last year, and that's what he drew last year.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't draw another $10,000 more like the chief did.
Yeah.
And if you look at the salaries, you can go through and look at the salaries, and like Jeff says, Santana said, they don't get paid. Well, you go through and look at the salaries for the city of Michigan City, and you'll see the highest people paid are firemen. It's unbelievable that the firemen are making to drive a fire truck, making $97,000 a year.
Real quick, I did do the wage search just because I knew we'd talk about this. The highest in Michigan City is the general manager of the sanitary district, which makes about $107,000. But yes, you are right though. The police chief last year did make in 2020 $94,000, which I don't know what that is. I don't know what It's interesting that you say there's a base salary of $85,000, so I don't know where the extra $10,000 came from. It doesn't really break that down in our transparency portal, but you're right. They did make $94,000. The police chief did. The fire chief only made $76,000. So almost $20,000 difference between there. So,
and they're both supposed to be the same. They're always the same. And did you see all the firemen that are at the top up there?
Yeah, no, there are quite a few. And again, it's hard. One of the things that you say that I think is interesting, and again, we'll get another caller here in a second. But one of the things that you say that's interesting is it does start pretty low, right? So, for instance, right now, the LaPorte City Police is trying to hire new policemen starting at $42,000 a year. Well, I could tell you, I went online and found a lot of jobs. You can make a lot more than $42,000 a year. So, starting, maybe there's your idea that maybe there needs to be a less discrepancy between the starting wage and the higher wage, so that, you can start a little bit higher. Maybe you don't peak as much, in the higher wages, but you can get a little bit better employees to start than they have now. So thank you so much for calling, though. I think it's good stuff. Thanks. All right, today we're talking about governmental salaries, what you guys think. Should people get more money in governmental work? Is that going to help maybe the shortage that many of our parks department, again, we've talked a lot about fire and police, but everyone wants good parks. Everyone wants nice parks. They get mad when there's goose poop on the sidewalks, but then are we okay with paying some people to do it? Again, it's hard when you have to say, well, we're going to get some somebody to come in here for $11 an hour, part-time, no benefits and things like this, and people wonder why we can't find somebody to do it. Here's a couple comments before we get to our callers. Again, if you have an opinion on this, 219-362-0522. The Liquor Vault on air line is 219-362-0522. Okay, let's get to some text real quick. There's no reason the Michigan City mayor should make over $100,000 a year. The city is broke. How is it? But someone is going to say he needs a raise. I did do some data for similar city, and we'll get to that in a little while after some calls. But I did do some data for similar cities, what the mayors are making. I can share that in a second. Here's another one. The council person is probably planning on running for mayor in the future and readying himself for a paycheck. And again, I don't want to, impugn anybody's character or anything because I don't know why. And it could be just a facetious thing. Again, as one of our callers said, there's more happening than just the ordinance. There's some things going on back and forth here. So tonight at 5:00 is a meeting that everyone, if you're interested, you should watch online. If there is money available in their budget for raises, it should go to those who are at the bottom of the pay scales. If employees leave because of low pay, they'll end up likely paying more for outsourcing those jobs, and it likely won't be done as well. Thanks so much for your text and your opinions. Let's get to a call real quick before break. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. Glad to have you on Sound Off today. What's your thoughts on this?
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure, my friend. And also for the WEOC radio station is fantastic, or COE, I'm sorry, Kenco and the guys. First of all, everybody that, whether they work for the government at federal, state, or local level, every one of them are very important positions. There's analysis and studies done that position has to be full. We need that position. So we can never undermine everybody that has to put their boots on. They dress, they go to work, and they accomplish their task that they're dealt with. Some cards are different every day, but we've got to respect and thank every one of them, every department. And I think the most important ones that I always see are the garbage pickup, the cemetery, maintenance crews, the street departments, sanitary. There's some very important positions there, and they're very important people, so we have to have them, and I certainly respect them and thank them every day. We don't want to divide between this person or that person, this government or that government. We need a civilized government that's fulfilled. The positions are full. How that comes about, sometimes we get caught up, or I should say this old oligarch system for decades can roll down and crash, just like it did in 2007. And what I'm saying is we have secret societies that seem to get a nod where other qualified people don't get a nod. That's going to give them a blemish not to go and waste their time with federal, state, or local government positions. So we've got to be careful of that and expose those areas when we see them. And that's for all people. They're no better than anybody else because they joined some society. Who cares? But what we do care about is the cost of living, what it costs for you to turn your lights on, to keep the house heated or the house air conditioning, your business, our home. We're all equalized on that. We eat the same foods, the same clothing. We're all the same in a civilized government. Now, what we need to do is make sure as the increases come in every year, everybody gets a fair share across the board on their pay increases. And I see most of the governments taking care of one another in those areas. When these little blips come about with the mayor wants a little bit more of an increase, hey, the stress that they're going through and the garbage that we got from Wuhan, China, they might deserve a little bit more, but sometimes the jumps are a little bit too high, and that's where we have conversations like we're having right now. But for the most part, it'll stabilize. I think those that are duly elected are going to have to buckle up and say, okay, let's look at the budget and see where we stand. It's not guaranteed, But at the same time, let's never, ever diminish each and every employee. They're very important. We love them. We appreciate them. And we thank them in all aspects. But thanks, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much for calling. Have a great day. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about governmental salaries, especially local government. I know everyone's got an opinion on Congress, these kind of things, but I want to talk about local government salaries, attracting better people, good people to these local departments. I did want to correct here something real quick before we go on break here. Text we received, just wondering what great benefits package our city employees receiving. LaPorte Fire Department does not have the great package that it had 35 years ago. LaPorte Fire Department is the lowest paid department in the tri-state area. That's why we pay for training firemen, and then they leave for higher pay as surrounding areas. And on that note, we're going to take a break. Keep it right here on 96.7 The Eagle.
The Gold Clipper Pet Salon and Resort, located at 112 J Street in LaPorte, is considered one of the best grooming salons in LaPorte. The Gold Clipper, open since 1985, offers a variety of services to ensure your pet has a pleasant experience in a stress-free environment. The Gold Clipper also offers daycare and boarding for your precious best friend. Stop in and check out their selection of solid gold dog and cat food, as well as an assortment of treats. For more info, call them at 219-324-5000 or go to their website, www.goldclipper.com.
Hi, this is Michael Morrison with the New York Blower Company. The New York Blower Company has been in business for more than 132 years, and we are continuing to expand products and services worldwide. We are an industry leader in manufacturing premium quality engineered fans and blowers to the marketplace. If you have welding and production experience, I would like to personally invite you to apply for our available positions. We offer a complete benefits package with competitive wages. Come see what sets us apart from the rest. Visit nyb.com or visit us on Facebook to apply today.
It's mom season at Landscaping by Smalls Garden Center and Stoneyard. Shop Smalls for your moms while supplies last. On sale at Smalls, all plants, shade trees, shrubs, evergreens, and perennials, and all outdoor decor items are 30% off. Visit Landscaping by Smalls Garden Center and Stoneyard on US 20 in LaPorte. Need it delivered? Smalls can do it. And for a free custom landscaping estimate, call John or Julie at Smalls. Phone 778-2568. Landscaping by Smalls Garden Center and Stoneyard. Open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday 10 a.m. till 4.
Hey, Daddy, what's that?
Well, honey, that's the phone for the Liquor Vault on-air line.
That's a phone? But it's got wires and buttons.
Yeah, phones used to look a little different. When our listeners call 362-0522, we press those buttons to put the callers on sound off or Tradio.
But where's the screen so you can see your text messages?
When someone texts 219-362-0522, it actually comes to that computer over there.
Your texts come to a computer? This place is weird.
The Liquor Vault on-air line is the number to call or text for sound off, Tradio, or to make a music request on 96.7 The Eagle. Brought to you by the Liquor Vault on Highway 35 in Kingsbury. Call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line 219-362-0522. Michigan City Monuments is dedicated to helping you design a lasting tribute for your loved one. Designing a headstone for yourself or a loved one is an important decision to make. Michigan City Monuments is family-owned and has decades of experience. They also offer cleaning and restoration, final date cutting, and on-site lettering. Visit them Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or Saturday 10 a.m. to 2, located at the corner of Highway 20 and Johnson Road. Call 874-7414 for all your monument needs. Michigan City Monuments, 874-7414.
Looking for a hard-to-find item you can't find in the stores? Maybe you'd like to sell a few items you no longer use or need. Maybe you're looking for help around the house or yard. Tradio is the answer. Every weekday following your 9 a.m. news, join Joe Happel and Jeff Wugeser for Tradio on 96.7 The Eagle. It's your time to call the Liquor Vault on-air lines at 362-0522 to buy, sell, and trade just about anything, even those hard-to-find items. Tradio, brought to you by Salaries Buick GMC and by Lighthouse Estate Management. Join us for Tradio, weekdays from 9:06 a.m. until 10 on 96.7 The Eagle.
Your opinion matters. We invite you to share it by calling or texting the Liquor Vault on-air line at 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends, for our final segment of today's Sound Off. It always goes so quick. Today, we're having a conversation about salaries and government positions. You can call or text the Liquor Vault on air line at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Hey, I did do some research. I told you I try to research quite a bit for our shows here, but I found out some similarly sized cities and what their mayors made in 2020. Here's some data for you. The East Chicago mayor made about $63,000. LaPorte's mayor made $67,000. And listen, Tom Dermody was supposed to be on the show on Friday. He canceled on me today. He canceled on me. Can you believe it? But he's going to be on the Morning Mayhem tomorrow. So I need everyone to call in and give him, you know what, for canceling on me on Friday. Now, he's going to be on Monday, but that doesn't make up for it. Michigan City mayor made $79,000. The Richmond, Indiana mayor made $82,000. The Portage, Indiana mayor made $85,000. Hobart's mayor made $86,000. Valpo's mayor made $92,000. Goshen's mayor made $94,000. New Albany's mayor made $95,000. And Crown Point's mayor made $95,000 as well. So some similarly sized cities, roughly, and that's where their mayors are at in salary. All right, let's get to some calls before we're done here today. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, we have to ask the question, at the end of the day, what does a Walmart manager make? And if that's what we're going to pay a Walmart manager or someone who owns a restaurant, what do we want our mayor to make, and what do you get for that? If you hire somebody and they make $32,000 a year to run your city, what does that get you? So you have to be concerned about the quality you're purchasing, and I feel like it's going to take someone with a bunch of life experience and an education, and I'm not sure that $30,000 a year is going to do that for us. Just food for thought.
Thank you so much. I did Google real quick. Again, the Google has lied to me before, so I don't know if this is accurate, but I did Google Walmart store manager salary, and it approximately makes about $80,000. All right, let's get to another caller. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Thanks for calling. What's your thoughts on this?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I have a couple of points. I'm going to try and condense as quick as I can. First thing, when I was a police officer, I didn't go to be an officer to be rich. I did it for community service, and that's what I wanted to do. I did not expect to make a big check. So a lot of these police officers are in this job. Same thing with the fire department, don't get me wrong. They're not there to get rich. So a lot of people think that they're out for money, and they're not. They're there for community service. As far as the mayor of Michigan City, if we can't afford to have lifeguards and out down there at the park, but yet we could afford to give this mayor a raise, our priorities are wrong. There's a lot of things in this city that needs to be money be spent on first. There's a lot of areas in this town that have no sidewalks. A lot of areas in this town, when it's raining, you can't even tell what side of the road you're on because we have no painted lines on the road, no hash marks, no fog lines, no center lines. Before we started giving somebody a $30,000 pay increase, who admitted when he first got hired that the city had no money, we were hurting, and that they were going to put a freeze on some of this wasteless spending. We need to take care of things like that first before we need to give somebody a pay raise. Now, as for the officers and firemen that get trained and then leave because they're not getting paid, they knew what the job paid when they raised their hand and took that oath of office. They knew what the pay was that job was for. What we need to do, and I've said this before in the other shows, when they raise their hand and they sign that paperwork, there should be a clause in there. If you don't keep this position for 5 years, then you need to reverse everything that was spent on you for training back to the entity that paid for your training. It's a shame that we waste so much money. We have a lot of good people out here. And yes, they do deserve a raise, but we expect them to work for that raise too. When you got supervisors that drive around and don't watch what their workers are doing, don't hold their workers accountable, and you got workers, and this is for all departments, from the park department all the way down to the police department, that sit underneath the trees all day and don't do nothing, when the supervisors are either sitting in the police station or in the park's office or actually sitting under the tree themselves, they're going to get away with it, and they say, nobody's going to hold me accountable. Why should I work for my job? There is a lot of good public workers, city workers, county workers, state workers that do their job every day faithfully and don't do it looking for a big check to supply them for the rest of their lives. It's the bad ones that make everything look bad. And the supervisors, if they can't hold their people accountable, then those supervisors need to be replaced. I still can't understand why the mayor of Michigan City has to have two people answering his telephones. This town is not that busy for a mayor that he can't answer his own phone. That's a waste of money right there in his office. And then sit here and try and give this guy a $30,000 raise. This city can't afford it. There's more important things in this town that money needs to be spent on.
All right.
We need more police officers before we give somebody a $30 raise. We need another police dog in this city before we give this guy a $30,000 raise. And as far as maybe we can't find anybody, a lot of these homeless people will be more than happy to work a part-time job. Not all of them are out there are drunks and drug addicts. A lot of them are out there because they have there was no fault of their own. They're homeless. And if you give them an opportunity to get back into the workforce, they do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your call there. We have one more text here, and this will be our last thought of the day. The county gives small raises, but then raise the insurance. So, in effect, the last raise they got, even though it was more money, they lost it due to the insurance costs going up, which often does happen again. So they tell you to be happy because you got a raise, but if your insurance goes up at the same cost that the raise did, it's kind of just a wash. Well, hey, I want to thank you so much for listening today. Thanks for calling. Thanks for all the texts. Sorry we couldn't get to everyone. We'll certainly have this conversation again about wages and things like that. I do appreciate all of our department heads between Michigan City and LaPorte and the county and all the different small towns that are trying to fill the wages or trying to fill the spots with the wages that they have. I know it's a hard job, but you guys do a great job trying to keep our parks and our city fire and police going. And we do appreciate you. Hey, we'll be back here on Friday. I'm not sure quite yet because Tom Dermody canceled on me on Friday. He's going to be on Monday instead, but we'll be back here same time, same place. Keep listening right here to 96.7 The Eagle.
Thank you for joining us and voicing your opinion on this edition of Sound Off. The views on Sound Off are those of the host or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. Sound Off airs every Monday and Friday at 12:30. Please mark your calendar and join us again for the next edition of Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle. Your home for country music variety is 96.7 The Eagle.